Good morning, everybody. It's Michael, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the focus stacking feature in the R6 Mark III. This is an absolute home run. And it's different in that it does focus stacking, but it does the merge in camera as well. We saw this on the R6 Mark II. We saw it on the R5 Mark II. There's not many cameras that can do the stack in camera. And if you can't do it in camera, this means you have to do it on a computer using like Photoshop or some other software to stack these images together. So if you are a product photographer who is shooting still images, not video, or no moving subjects, this is an absolute home run. We've used it on all the Maven filter campaigns, for our catalogs, for our online filters. The product box that I'm shooting with is made by Orange Monkey. I'll also put that link in the description. It's a fast fold-up box, has built-in LEDs. It's really amazing. I would grade this as kind of the beginning of an advanced type of shooting technique. If you're a pure beginner or an intermediate, I would say hang off on this until you know the basics: shutter speed, aperture, ISO, how to focus, and things of that nature. The philosophy of use on this is that when we're shooting still products for catalogs or magazines or whatever, we want to maximize the balance between the sharpness and the depth of field. So depth of field is how deep our focus is, and the sharpness has to do with edge fidelity, and these work together to create a stunning image. When we are shooting products like this in a tent and we get very, very close, we have some challenges, because if we review the depth of field rules, there are three major things that control depth of field. Number one is our aperture selection. Number two is how close we are to the subject, meaning that the closer we get to the subject, the more shallow the depth of field. So already we're at a disadvantage when we start moving the camera very, very close. And the third one is the focal length selections. So if we're shooting very, very wide, we get a more deep depth of field. If we're shooting more telephoto, we have a more shallow depth of field. A lot of macro lenses, which are super sharp, they're either 100 millimeters, in some cases they're 90 millimeters. Those are some of the best, macro lenses on the market. They're more telephoto. I'm using the 24-105 f4 just as an example, and I'm just going to shoot here at f4 to start off. So this is the maximum aperture. The other thing I wanted to point out is you're going to notice I'm focusing about 1/3 into the frame, and I have a smaller focusing square. So I'm trying to get very precise focus. And when I play this back and zoom in, you can see where the depth of field is. This is a very easy technique if you're curious about your lenses, is to take a picture of a ruler. I like to do it diagonally so I can see the full length of the ruler, but it will allow us to really inspect the edge fidelity, which is sharpness, as well as the depth of field. We can see the fall off on the focus here. So if we were doing a product shoot under a tent like this at f4, it's not going to be enough. Okay, this is too much of this is out of focus. And typically the natural response to this is to stop the aperture down, because the smaller the aperture size, the greater the depth of field. So this is what happens is photographers will come in and they'll say, well, I'll just maximize this. We'll go to f22, and because it's not moving, we'll just use a longer shutter speed, and they'll take a picture at f22. So this is a mistake, and the reason is something called diffraction. Diffraction basically means is that when you get to smaller aperture sizes, usually you really start to see it around f13 and higher, you'll get a greater depth of field, but it is at the cost of sharpness. So when we zoom in and we check the edge fidelity, it's kind of hard to see because we're looking at the back monitor of the camera. But if you look at this on a computer, what you'll notice is the sharpness. You can start to see it here. It's not as sharp. It's in focus. There's a depth of field here, but even the depth of field at f22, you can obviously see that it's not enough. You can see the difference at f22 in sharpness. If we zoom in on that 9, and we jump back, look at the edges. It's kind of hard to see, but it's not quite as sharp. So this f22 game of stopping it down isn't going to work because of diffraction, and it's still not deep enough. So the way that we solve this is we use this focus stacking feature that we have on the R6 Mark II and the R6 Mark III. I'm going to set the camera to f8. And the reason I like f8 is because that's usually when your lenses are going to maximize your bang for the buck in regards to sharpness and depth of field. We love to shoot wide open when we're shooting portraits, whatever the widest aperture is, 2.8 f4. The problem with it is it's not the sharpest at the widest aperture. You usually start seeing sharpness improve after you stop your lens down 1 or 2 stops. And at f8, usually speaking, you're doing pretty well. It depends on a certain number of things like the size of your sensor and the pixel pitch. That's a different discussion. Suffice it to say, if you're new to this, start off at f8. We're going to come into the menu, page 5 out of 10 in the red tab, and we're going to select focus bracketing, and we're going to enable this. What this feature does essentially is it gives the camera permission to take a certain number of shots and to change the focus position every shot that's taken. So it'll take a picture and it'll move the focusing point, and it'll take another picture and it'll move the focusing point. You don't need 100 shots to do this. Typically when I do this, it's 9 or 10. So the focus increment is how far do you want the camera to move the focusing point between shots? And this is kind of hard to determine what's really happening. It gives you a little guide here. Is it a little bit more narrow? Is it a little bit more wide? But we have to give it instructions. We'll start off at 4, let's say. Exposure smoothing. This deals with when the focus position is changed. Any changes in exposure, the camera can help smooth that out. And this last one, this is super important. Depth composite. We want to enable this. This is telling the camera to stack the images. So it's going to take 10 images and the 11th image will be your in-camera stacked picture, which is amazing. It's going to save you hours of workflow if you're doing a campaign like we did. So we were doing all of these stacks in camera. It saves you a tremendous amount of time. And we can also give the camera permission to crop the image. I'm going to tap the shutter button, and you'll notice that we get this focusing stack icon, and I'm going to move the starting position a little bit lower here. And the camera actually changes it in this direction. I'm going to get my focus lock, and then I'm going to press the shutter button. So you could hear all those shots being taken. Maybe I shook the camera a little bit, maybe not when I press the shutter button. Let's take a look at the composite image. See if this worked. So this is looking really good, but we start to lose the depth of field back here. So it's not enough. Either we didn't take the right number of shots or the increments weren't deep enough. So let's come back in and let's change, that's fine I think. Let's change the increments to be something like 7. And we'll try it again. Come down here. Let's take another look. Wow, look at this. So by increasing a little bit of blur there at the inch mark, otherwise this is looking pretty good. So maybe I just add one more picture, maybe 1 or 2. And then once you have this set up the way you like it, it's just a matter of swapping, products down as fast as you can. And the camera's doing all this in camera. It's amazing. It saves you so much time. So the last image should be the one that's stacked. 739. Let's take a look. That's looking good. Depth of field. Yeah, that looks good. So just like that, you would have your image, you would download it to your computer, you could crop it, tweak it however you want. Suffice it to say, focus stacking on the R6 Mark III is an absolute home run if you do any product photography. Thank you for your suggestions on the video. Just let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see. I'm Michael the Maven. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.